Hello, BKFK listeners. Coming up in this episode, Gerta Grimswill buys something magical.
Oh, that one. That's an always returning wallet. It never gets lost, no matter what. It's a tricky little thing, but if you use it right, it can be mighty useful.
Anyone who tries to steal the wallet lands themselves in big trouble. With a whoosh, she felt herself being pulled inside the wallet. One by one, all of the Snaggletonians are tempted to take the wallet, except one. Can you guess who? But first, a shout out to our latest patron. She writes the most creative comments about our podcasts. Welcome, Josephine. Keep on bringing us joy with your comments. Listeners, you've probably noticed that I occasionally use complicated words on BKFK. That's because I know you clever kids can work out what's going on, even if you don't understand every word. I think it's good to challenge you. However, I've decided to explain one difficult word from each story. Are you intrigued? That's a clue. Listen at the end of the episode to find out. The star performers of this episode are Cora as Gerta.
My name is Cora. I'm 7 years old, and I love hugging my sister.
Kathy as Kazad and Granny.
Hi, I'm Kathy. I am a high school student from Arizona in the United States. And I want to give a shout out to my dog for falling asleep while I was recording.
Micah as Jinx.
Hello, my name is Micah. I am 8.5 years old, I live in Indiana, and I really like playing Beyblades and space.
Jace as Snickerfang.
Hello, my name is Jinx. I live in Indiana in the USA. I am 11 years old, and I really enjoy gaming, climbing, and acting.
Isaiah as Grumblegut.
I'm Isaiah. I'm 11 years old. I'm from America, and I like Legos.
Josiah as Snotbeard.
My name is Josiah. I'm 6 years old. I come from America. I like Legos.
And Jude as Fergus.
I'm Jude. I'm from Ireland. I'm 7.5 years old. And I really like art.
Well done, kids. Okay, let's get on with the story. The always returning wallet. It was a beautiful sunny morning in Snaggleton. The village was bustling with creatures of all kinds, and the air was filled with laughter and chatter. The Glug and Goggle Tavern was a mess from the night before. Gerta Grimswill, the big, strong hobgoblin innkeeper, was out the back, throwing out the trash. Her multicolored kittycorn, Shimmershine, was darting around the trash cans, chasing rats, her silvery horn glinting in the light. Suddenly, the ground rumbled, and a magical rickety cart appeared with a loud creak and a pop. It was Kazad Thunkhammer's traveling Trove, the interdimensional shop on wheels that would appear from nowhere and then would just as suddenly vanish without a trace. Gerta's eyes lit up with excitement.
Kazad, my old friend!
She shouted, waving her arms in the air.
You're back! I haven't seen you in ages!
Kazad Thunkhammer, the towering orc shopkeeper with a toothy grin, hopped down from the cart. Her mohawk hair was studded with charms, and she had a mischievous glint in her sharp, scarred eyes.
Well, 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 if it isn't Gerta Grimswill, the toughest hobgoblin in all of Magimajura.
Kazad boomed, slapping Gerta on the back so hard that it nearly knocked her over.
I've got treasures from every corner of the multiverse.
Kazad continued as she opened the door to her cart. The shelves inside were packed with glittering bottles, glowing compasses, and mysterious trinkets. Gerta couldn't wait to look through it all.
Let's see what you got today,
Gerta said, her yellow cat eyes sparkling. As she browsed through the shelves, Gerta's hand landed on something unusual. A small, worn leather wallet. It looked simple enough, but there was something about it that seemed different. She picked it up, turning it over in her hands.
What's this, Visage?
She asked, raising an eyebrow.
Oh, that one. That's an always returning wallet. It never gets lost, no matter what. It's a tricky little thing, but if you use it right, it can be mighty useful.
Gerta was intrigued. She had never heard of such a thing before.
Oh, take it.
She said quickly, eager to try it out. Khazad handed it over with a wink.
Don't say I didn't warn you. Now I've got to go before this cart vanishes again.
With that, she slammed the door to the cart, hopped back inside, and whoosh, it disappeared, leaving only a faint smell of smoke behind. Gerta couldn't wait to see the wallet in action. She decided to try it out right then and there. She grabbed a handful of brass, silver, and gold coins from her pocket and placed them inside the wallet. Along with the coins, she wrote a small note that said, "If found, please return to the Glugging Gargoyle." Then she placed the wallet in the middle of the village square and walked away, curious to see what would happen. Jinx the Goblin, always on the lookout for shiny things, was the first to notice the wallet. She spotted it glinting in the sun as she skipped through the square, her wide mouth grinning from ear to ear. She immediately scampered over to it.
Ooh, coins!
Jinx exclaimed as she opened the wallet and saw the shiny pile inside.
That's a lot of zoggy money.
She rubbed her hands together, eyeing the gold. But then she saw the note.
If found, please return to the Glugging Gargoyle.
Jinx read aloud, squinting at the writing.
But look at all these flim-flam coins. No one will know if I keep it, right?
Jinx was tempted. With a cheeky grin, she stuffed the wallet into her pocket. The world around her seemed to shrink and twist. With a whoosh, she felt herself being pulled inside the wallet. Before she could even yelp, she was swallowed up by the wallet, shrinking down to a tiny size and tumbling into the dark, jostling space. Jinx grunted as she landed on a pile of coins.
This isn't what I thought would happen.
She scrambled to her feet, dusting herself off. She was surrounded by the shiny gold coins, and everything felt squished. She was in the wallet.
Help!
She cried.
Help! Help!
But no one could hear her, and the wallet remained on the ground in the village square. Meanwhile, Snickerfang the goblin was nearby, poking around the village square with his usual curiosity. His large eyes gleamed as he spotted the wallet lying on the ground.
Oh, Snixie!
He exclaimed, bending down to pick it up.
A wallet! And coins, too! A bitch full of Grumblebugs and Wrigglerams!
Snickerfang opened the wallet and found the same shiny pile of coins that Jinx had seen. His eyes widened in delight.
Now listen, Slouchy! Look at all this snip-snap gold!
He giggled, imagining all the fun he could have with the coins. But then, just like Jinx, Snickerfang felt the strange tugging sensation. The world around him twisted and whooshed. He too was sucked into the wallet, shrinking to a tiny size and landing with a thud on top of Jinx.
Ow!
Jinx yelped, looking up at her brother, who was now even smaller than she was.
Snickerfang, what happened? Why are we so small?
I don't know,
Snickerfang said, trying to stand up.
but we're in a Whittle Squash wallet! And look at all these Grumble coins!
The two goblins tried to move around, but the jostling coins made it hard to stand still. They bumped into each other, knocked into shiny bits of metal, and fell over a few times. It wasn't much fun at all. Soon the rest of the Snaggletonians began to notice the wallet. Trolla the troll, Grumblegut the ogre, Snotbeard the giant, and even Granny Gigglesnort the silly old witch all wandered by and picked it up one after the other. Each one, thinking it was full of treasure, opened the wallet and got sucked inside, shrinking to a tiny size and tumbling into the same chaotic space of coins.
Good gracious!
Granny Gigglesnort giggled as she landed.
This is worse than the time I got stuck in a wiggly wobble potion.
Grumblegut grunted.
I think we're all stacking here.
Trolla let out a loud sneeze, sending a few coins flying.
This is worse than the time I got stuck in a slime pit.
The Snaggletonians bumped into one another, rolled over coins and got jostled around as each new creature appeared. Lexi Light Dancer, Sir Chuckle Nugget, and even Stanky. One by one were sucked inside too. Finally, Fergus O'Gold, who was usually all about wealth and treasure, came across the wallet. He glanced around, making sure no one was looking, then opened it up.
Ah, treasure.
He shouted with glee.
Well, isn't this a piece of luck?
His eyes gleamed as he saw all the coins inside. Then he saw the note and read it.
If found, please return to the Glogging Gargoyle.
Inside, the Snaggletonians, covered in bruises from the coins, tried to call out to Fergus.
Help! 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 Help!
But they were so tiny that their voices just sounded to Fergus like the twittering of little birds. Fergus closed the wallet and was just about to slip it into his pocket when he said to himself,
Hold on, Fergus. You're better than this. There's a lot of money in there, and I bet somebody worked very hard to earn it.
He paused for a moment, wrestling with his leprechaun instincts. Then he turned around and walked straight to the Glogging Gargoyle. He marched up to Gerta.
Here you go, Gerta.
He said,
Greed's not worth it, even for shiny coins.
Gerta smiled.
Thank you, Fergus.
She took the wallet and opened it.
What's that strange note?
She asked. Fergus held his ear close to the wallet.
I hear it too.
Gerta held the wallet upside down and poured the contents onto the floor. Out fell all the tiny Snaggletonians, magically returning to their normal size as they tumbled out in a pile of embarrassed-looking creatures, each of which had tried to keep the wallet for themselves.
Well, well, well.
Gerta laughed.
You've all learned something today, haven't you? Greed isn't the way to go, no matter how tempting it seems.
The Snaggletonians hung their heads and nodded in agreement.
We're sorry.
Mumbled Jinx.
How can we make it up to you?
Gerta laughed.
The Glogging Gargoyle needs a good clean. I suggest you each grab a broom and get to work.
And so they did. The Snaggletonians had learnt that stealing things, no matter how small, isn't really worth it. And now for something completely different. You've probably noticed that in our stories, we sometimes use quite difficult words. I have no doubt that you guys are clever enough to understand the story even if you don't understand every word, but I thought it could be fun to explain one of the more difficult or interesting words. The word I've chosen today is intrigued. Do you remember in the story I said Gerta was intrigued? She had never heard of such a thing before. intrigued means really curious or interested in something. When you see something new and you really want to know more about it, that's being intrigued. Time for a quiz. Question 1. What unusual item did Gerta buy from Kazad Thunkhammer? A self-stirring soup ladle. B, an always returning wallet. C, a map to hidden treasure. Or D, a pair of levitating boots. And the answer is B, an always returning wallet. Question 2. What happened to anyone who tried to keep the wallet? A, they found a secret stash of gems inside. B, they were magically shrunk and trapped inside the wallet. C, they were transported to another dimension. Or D, they started speaking in rhymes. And the answer is B. They were magically shrunk and trapped inside the wallet. Question 3. Who was the first to get trapped inside the wallet? A, Snickerfang the Goblin. B, Granny Gigglesnort. C, Jinx the Goblin. Or D, Grumblegut the Ogre. And the answer is C, Jinx the Goblin. Question 4. Who finally returned the wallet to Gerta? A, Snotbeard the Giant. B, Trolla the Troll. C, Fergus O'Gold the Leprechaun. Or D, Lexi Light Dancer the Pixie. And the answer is C, Fergus O'Gold the Leprechaun. Question 5. What chore did Gerta assign to those who tried to steal the wallet? A, washing all the tavern mugs. B, polishing Shimmershine's horn. C, cleaning the glugging gargoyle. Or D, feeding the gargoyle by the fireplace. And the answer is C, cleaning the glugging gargoyle. And lastly, here's a taste of our Patreon special series, The Marvelous Land of Oz, the second in the Wizard of Oz stories. If you'd like to hear the whole story, join our Patreon community. In the land of the Gillikins, which is at the north of the land of Oz, lived a boy called Tip. His name was actually longer because old Mombi often said his full name was Tipitarius. But nobody was expected to say such a long word when Tip worked just fine. This boy didn't remember his parents at all because he had been brought when he was very young to be raised by the old woman known as Mombi, who had a rather bad reputation, I'm sorry to say. The Gillikin people had reason to think she practiced magical arts, so they hesitated to spend time with her. Mombi wasn't exactly a witch, because the good witch who ruled that part of the land of Oz had forbidden any other witch to exist there. So Tip's guardian, even though she really wanted to work magic, knew it was against the rules to be more than a sorceress, or at most a wizardess. Tip had to carry wood from the forest so the old woman could boil her pot. He also worked in the cornfields, digging and removing the husks. And he fed the pigs and milked the cow with 4 horns that Mombi was especially proud of. But don't think he worked all the time, because he felt that would be bad for him. When sent to the forest, Tip often climbed trees for bird eggs, or amused himself by chasing the fast white rabbits. or fishing in the little stream with bent safety pins. Then he would quickly gather his armful of wood and take it home. When he was supposed to be working in the cornfields and the tall corn stalks hid him from Mombi's sight, Tip would often dig in the gopher holes or, if he felt like it, lie on his back between the rows of corn and take a nap. So, by being careful not to...